I'm kind of scared because I say all these things about how the matrix is cracking. We need to build a new system, but it's happening in direct correlation at exact the same time as AI is taking over. And I'm kind of scared that AI is going to enslave us all now. I'm kind of sitting there going, is this new technology going to be used for our benefit or to perma enslave us?
What do you imagine the world to look like in 5-10 years time? As I mentioned earlier on, you got AI and you got the Apple Vision Pro, and eventually they're going to come out with sunglasses like the ones you're wearing now that have every little thing that you need to see in front of you. So what do you imagine the world to look like?
It's a good question. And I'm going to tell people how I came to my answer. I think the best way to predict the future is to study history. I believe in times of old. Let's go back the last 3,000 years. If you were a king, your life was pretty good. Or it was as good as life could be. To be a king, you had power, influence, money. That's what you had. And you were a king and you lived a good version of life. If you weren't a king, you were an average man, a common man. And I think the world is cyclical. When you were a common man 2,000 years ago, you were effectively a slave and life was terrible. And then that was the same all the way up to perhaps 1930s, 1940s. Being a common man was pretty terrible. And perhaps it was the war and the massive loss of life. Perhaps it was something else. I'm not sure. But I kind of feel like there was a golden period between in the 50s to 60s to 70s to 80s, maybe even the 90s, where being a normal, hardworking man, because life is cyclical, went from being a terrible existence to quite a good existence. In the 60s, you could be a normal man who worked in a factory, an unskilled labor job, and with one wage, you could afford a house, you could afford a car, you could afford to raise a family, your children would not be taught garbage in school, your wife would respect you, you'd have a home-cooked meal.
Times are good.
Times are good. And I feel like, because it's cyclical, those good times are over, and we're going back to where it was before. The kings have always been fine, and we always will. But if you're the common man, I think that the good days are over, and I think it's going to get harder and harder. The common man is about to get wrecked. I think inflation is going to make it exceptionally difficult. I think AI is going to make most jobs worth less than they already currently are. Mm-hmm. If you're a newspaper writer or whatever, AI is going to take that in the next 10 years.
Yep.
And you're going to, if you still have a job, it's going to be only managing the AI, which means you're going to be paid even less than you're currently paid. I think life is about to become exceptionally difficult for the people in the middle. I think the good times are over. I think it's going to go back to the feudal system of kings and serfs and peasants. And I think if you're a normal, average person now, you should feel deep fear and panic and understand that you have a certain amount of time to get into the higher bracket of the social class before these hard times come. And the most scary thing about these hard times is I feel like the gap is going to permanently close. But if you're the average person at home and you're watching AI continually take over the world, and you're not at least learning how to implement it so you can benefit, you're toast. You're toast. Most people are going to be replaced so quickly. I don't think the average person at home realizes how replaceable they are. I'd argue now that 80% of the normies I talk to, ChatGPT would be far more interesting than them. They're that boring. The average person at home, if they were trying to get a girl, would be better off putting ChatGPT in the combo than themselves. That's how bad they are. And they're arrogant and they're narcissistic and they think, no, I'm special. Most of you are not special. You're not. And because you're not special, you're going to be replaced by machines. And once you're replaced by machines, you're going to become useless. And you're still going to have expectations. You're still going to want to eat, and you're still going to want a wage, and you're still going to want a good house and a nice car. What are the elites going to do with the populace once they become completely useless and remain to be entitled? You're useless eaters. Useless eaters always end up decimated. In any period of human history, any civilization, if you had a large subsect of the populace that had no purpose, they got decimated. So if you're at home sitting there thinking, well, I can become useless and the government will just feed me, I'd argue they'll starve you to death instead because they don't need you around. And most people are going to be replaced very quickly by these machines. Sora, I said to my camera guys when I saw Sora, I was like, you're out of a job. You're fired. We started laughing about it. But it's true. And think of how fast technology advances. Where are we going to be in 20 years from now?
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
It's insane. You need to get ahead of these things. In regards to AI, I think it has to be adopted. Inside of my school, Hustlers University, we teach AI with absolutely everything. A lot of the images we generate, even on my Twitter account, is all AI. And what's actually scary about the modern world is
I don't consider myself old. I'm 36. But some of the children, I call them children, 17, 18-year-olds inside of my school, this university, they're AI wizards, and they can do magic with this stuff. Magic. Like, they can literally, genuinely, Andrew Tate on the moon, and the image is generated in seconds. Like, artists are going out of business. I thought AI would put truck drivers out of business. Artists are going out of business. Musicians are going out of business. It's kind of scary. I do like to think that with things like AI, there's always going to be some degree of natural separation between the men who are genuinely inventive and killers and the men who are more... Let me change the way I say that. I think if you're an exceptional person, a truly exceptional person, you don't have to be afraid of nearly anything. But you'll probably agree with this. In my experience, in nearly every business in the world, you have 10% killers, and then you have a bunch who want the paycheck. They do their job, but I wouldn't say they're killers. You understand? Mm-hmm. And we live in a society for a long time where I can even tell you now, sometimes when I hire, I'll say to my cousin or to my COO, I'll say, look, either get one killer or 3 normal people. Because that's the reality. That's the basic. You either need 3 people to half do the job, or you need 1 killer to do the job. And I think that those 3 people who half do their jobs, enough to not get fired, they turn up most of it on time, but they're not really that motivated. Those are the ones who have to fear AI. I think businesses in the medium term are going to become killers in AI. I tell them now, I have some guys who work for me on one particular company and their sales staff. I was reading through the sales scripts. The killers doing really well. But the average guys, I said, you're not doing much better than ChatGPT could do right now. I want to warn you that you're not doing much better than I could replace you with a machine today, let alone in 5 years from now, for free. You need to be careful. So I think it's just becoming more and more competitive. The idea that you can just be Joe Schmo, do your job, turn up, I don't try that hard, it's fine. I think that's all going to go out the window, because as the world becomes more competitive, as a company, you have to compete with your competitors. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is just, where do you cut the fat? Where do you cut the slack? When I see AI popping up and getting more and more intelligent in the way it's talking, that doesn't scare me. I have a way with words. If I was Joe Schmo, I'd be afraid. This chat GPT can probably text your girl better than you can. He'll probably get laid faster than you.
Some advice for the guys out there.
Yeah,
right?
just plug it into your phone. He'll do better than you do. So that's scary, you know?
That's hilarious.
I think that's what the average man really needs to struggle. And I've been saying, this has been my message for a very long time in all realms. I've said for a very long time that life for the average man is going to get harder and harder. It's becoming more and more competitive. You need to find more and more ways to stand out and be unique. And the only way to really do those things, unfortunately, as a man, is to suffer.
I think that if you're prepared to suffer and you're prepared to show that your brand or your personal brand stands up for something, and you have information which people then believe they need, you're going to be very successful in the world today. I feel like a lot of the attention geopolitically is going to be moving towards the global south and the second and third world. And I think a lot of people understand there's always been more opportunity in the second and third world than in the first world, where a lot of things are wrapped up. Mm-hmm. I think the internet is giving a lot of access to these places that perhaps didn't exist before.
Absolutely.
I think artificial intelligence involved in these places is also going to be extremely important. I feel like selling information or being the barrier to information is a fantastic way to get wealthy in the world today. There's a lot of people who want things explained to them in a very concise, very quick, very compendious way.
Right.
And if you can take information which is perhaps freely available that takes an hour to explain and explain it in 30 seconds or less, you're going to find a way to monetize that.
Right.
Especially if you can draw attention to yourself and make it clear how much time you can save people.
Right.
Especially if you could use artificial intelligence to get that 30 seconds down to 25 seconds.
Right.
There's actually endless opportunity if you're prepared to work. I don't know how people in the first world aren't extremely concerned. Mm-hmm. You were being replaced by effectively foreign call centers for a while. That's something that's been going on for a while. And now we have artificial intelligence coming, and most people are so boring and uninteresting, and they have not suffered enough to be unique. Therefore, they're going to soon be replaced by a free chatbot.
Right.
It's a free chatbot that could already replace a large subsect of the population as we stand right now. Imagine we're going to be in 2 or 3 years from now. I think the average person in the Western world hasn't woken up and realized that everything's becoming more expensive and your currency's inflated and there's no chance that anyone's going to fix it for you, and they're out to replace you, people from the second and third world who will work harder than you for less money.
Do a great job.
And do a great job.
English, yeah.
Absolutely. And the robots are coming and they're going to replace you for even less than the second worlders want. And you're sitting there thinking you don't have to be exceptional and you don't have to learn to think outside the box. You don't have to suffer in any way to become a unique person, and you're just going to somehow, pay your bills?
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not. You're going to get destroyed.
destruction's coming for you, and then you're going to become a useless person because you're not going to have a job that you're prepared to do at the price that people are prepared to pay. And once you become a useless person, you have to sit and go further down the rabbit hole of history and see what's happened to all the people of Earth that were useless. What happened to all the people who had dreams and aspirations and expectations, and they were no good to those in power? Because I can tell you. Yeah, work that one out. You're going to see very quickly that you're not going to exist for very long. And bro, when I saw that Sora AI thing, this is to all the cameramen in the room, including my guy. I saw that Sora AI thing. I was like, bro, even camera guys are going to be gone soon. Hollywood's gone, actors are gone, script writers are gone.
Right.
Everyone's going to lose their job. Everyone. You have to be sitting there, and I don't know if the average cameraman is sitting saying, they're going to replace me with this. Maybe not now, maybe not in a year, but certainly in 2. They're going to be able to ask a robot for the thing I would take months to film, and the robot's going to spit it out instantly. So how do I, A, integrate this with my skills so that when they want to use the robot, instead of asking the robot directly, they ask me because they can get a better result via me? How do I use AI along with my camera skills so I can continue to retain my job? Or 2, how do I diversify? What can I do that this robot can't do currently, or I don't believe it will be able to do into the future? But the average camera guy doesn't give a shit. Oh, camera guy, Sora, yeah, that's cool. Do, off the cliff. Yeah. Oh, I didn't see it coming. How did this happen to me? Why am I unemployed? You're a useless eater now. Enjoy the concentration camp. That's what's going to happen. So you have to be paying attention and thinking worst case scenario. They're coming for absolutely everybody and everything. And a lot of these personal brands, unless they're built on the back of a whole ton of suffering, I think they're going to suffer also. I don't know how they're going to have a personal brand based on just talking motivational quotes. Yeah. I haven't even done this. Someone should go to ChatGPT and say something philosophical and motivational, which inspires me. And I guarantee you can start reading things and go, crap, that's pretty good. Yeah, oh no, that's pretty good. It'll be scary to read.
Yeah. It's an inevitable reality that people have to learn.
It's an inevitable reality, and I don't think most people are even considering that they're replaceable or going to be replaced.
Mm-hmm. And seeing it early enough to pivot and make it work. Absolutely.
It needs to cross your mind. Yeah. The one good thing about something like artificial intelligence is if you position yourself now, if you get in a position where you can use it before other people can, then people will hire you to use it for them. Work with the machines. You don't have to work against them. You can work with them. But firstly, you need to learn how to use it, and we will teach you inside of Hustles University, which you can access. But once again, most people are stupid, lazy, or arrogant. Artificial intelligence is not too hard to use. You can join our school, and we'll teach you exactly how to use it. Only 5% of people will be too stupid to do it. The majority of people are too lazy to do it. They're too lazy to join my school. They'll sit here and listen to this whole podcast, and then I'll say, I have a school which will teach you how to use the machines to print you money. And they're still too lazy to go and learn, and they're going to wonder why they're broke forever. Or they're too arrogant. I don't need the AI. Oh yeah, it's probably something that'll exist and it won't affect me. Good luck, friend.
Yeah, I think AI, we've talked about the negative effects of AI. We know that it's bad for you. The reality of life is that once that technology is invented, you're never going to uninvent it.
Oh, of course.
Like, we know social media is bad for you. But you're never going to uninvent social media. It's here forever.
But it can be used for good and bad.
Exactly. And AI is here forever. And it's going to get worse and more advanced. It's going to take over parts of our lives. We know this. As much as you want to hate it and fight it, as much as I think it's going to be so much evil that comes from it, you have to almost understand it.
Well, I'll give you a very quick example. It can be used for good or bad. Social media can be negative if you sit there and digest bad information, but it's also one of the reasons we managed to get to such large subsets of the population. So it can be a good thing and a bad thing. Inside the real world, inside my online university, we push AI very heavily. And I was having a conversation with someone the other day who said, oh yeah, I don't use AI because I'm a club promoter. And I said, if you're in any business in the world today, it doesn't matter if you're a plumber, it doesn't matter if you're a club promoter, it doesn't matter what business you're in, you should be learning how to implement AI because there's going to be the people who use AI and the people who fail. Yes. Those are the only two options, which is why we teach it so heavily inside of my university. And I said to the club promoter, what do? He said, well, I get guys to book expensive tables at the club because I bring pretty girls to the table. I said, okay, Well, if you had an AI machine, let's say you use Sora to put together a video of the best club night ever, and let's say you use ChatGPT to speak to lots of girls and explain what's going to happen and why they're going to have a great time at the club, and also get ChatGPT to speak to rich men and explain to them what a great time they're going to have, and you could mass speak to people at a much larger rate than you can do by yourself sitting there typing, you're going to make more money.
Yeah.
You can implement AI in club promotion. You can get the most fancy video, and you can get a ChatGPT learning bot to realize exactly, this is actually a point I want to make, to realize exactly what trigger words get the girls to want to party and what trigger words get the guy to want to spend money. And you can put together some data, and you can stop talking to people completely, and you can focus on the AI learning mechanisms to do all the work for you, which is why we're teaching it inside of my university. There's not a job on earth where you shouldn't be using AI mechanisms to do it for you, because that's what they're doing to us already.
Yeah.
We live in this surveillance capitalism world where a lot of the tech companies, a lot of the largest companies in the world are making money purely based on prediction of our behavior. They build digital versions of us online. They build there's a digital Matt, there's a digital Andrew based on all of our spending habits, how long we spend on each website, which part of the website we click on first, which websites we visit, how long we spend on our email, which email topics make us reply. They're constantly gathering data on us and putting together digital versions of us so they can predict our behavior to make as much money from us as possible. And once they can do that, they then try and alter our behavior so that we become more profitable. And they do this on purpose so that we become a person who's worth $12.59 to be a person who's worth $14.03 by altering how we react to certain things. So they're already building algorithms and trying to adjust how our mind works. And if you have a company or you are interested in making money in the world today and you're not considering doing exactly that, you're going to permanently fail.
And AI is going to make it harder and harder, again, for those average men. It's going to be harder and harder. I don't think the exceptional men are ever going to suffer from AI. I think we're going to use AI.
Yeah, and I agree completely. I think a lot of people say, hey, I'm working 2 jobs and I feel like I need a way to make some extra income. Yes, I agree. You need more money. Everyone needs more money. If you want to learn something, if you're 15 or you're 55, it's not too late to get into AI.
100%.
And yes, is it evil? Yes, I think so. However, you're not going to uninvent it.
Yeah.
You might as well learn it, because this is a way where you can add some extra income to your life. And it's not overly difficult if you just spend a little time to figure it out.
And this is what's interesting, because the current educational systems of Earth, none of them are teaching AI.
Yeah.
I mean, perhaps maybe you go to MIT and you learn about robotics or something, fine.
And at a very advanced level, which you don't need.
Absolutely. The average school isn't teaching you about AI. The average MBA you will do won't teach you about AI. I'm going to sit here and make it very clear and obvious. The only school on the planet I can find that will teach you about artificial intelligence is my one, the real world. It's $49. For $49, we'll teach you exactly how to use AI to make a whole bunch of money. Which goes back into a point I was saying earlier about certain people are just tied into the matrix and don't want to be freed. If we will sit here and have a long conversation about how artificial intelligence is going to replace most people, and if you don't implement it, you're going to become useless. Your entire bloodline is going to be exterminated because you don't serve any purpose to society. And I'm going to teach you how to use artificial intelligence for $49, and you're still not going to do it. Well, then I guess you just deserve eternal slavery for your bloodline. Some people are just born to lose, I assume. But it's extremely important we implement these things. So when I watched Sora, the conversations I've had, this was only 2 days ago, I was on the phone for 6 or 7 hours with my team inside the real world saying, okay, how can we use this? What can we do with this? And there's 2 different ways to look at it. There is, how can we use artificial intelligence now when no one else is really using it? How do we get ahead of the curve and continue to make millions of dollars? That's easy. The real question is, how do we use AI when everyone else is using it? Once it becomes mainstream and everyone else can do it, when everyone else can produce adverts at the drop of a hat, when everyone else can make their product look fantastic when it isn't, when everybody else can use ChatGPT to be extremely funny and charming and interesting, when there's neurolinks in their brain and everybody can talk like Andrew Tate. Because right now only Andrew Tate can talk like that. When I lose my ability to speak more concisely and compendiously than everybody else, how do I compete then? That's going to be the hard one. But right now we're in a transitional period where it's easy. Because if you join the real world or you pay attention or you learn these things, you're so ahead of everyone else. It's like the first person to turn up to the gold mine. And you can just dig and pick up all the gold. But there'll become a time where the gold mine's flooded. And that's where you really have to think ahead. So we had a long conversation about how to make a bunch of money now, and that was easy. But the real question is, how do we all make a bunch of money in 20 years when AI is standardized? That's what's going to be the interesting conversation.
I mean, the future is digital. Everything's going to be AI. Everything's going to be digital. We know this for sure. If you think it's not, you got your head in the sand. It's happening no matter what.
100%.
You have to embrace AI. That's what I think.
Yeah, 100%, because it allows you to work at mass at a much more effective rate, much more effectively. I mean, the amount of websites copywriting is a thing, right? And it still is a thing. But the amount of websites which could benefit from a complete copy change with ChatGPT would make their copy better than it currently is.
Yeah.
The amount of average electricians have a little terrible website somewhere in Texas, and you could literally ChatGPT their entire website, and you could charge them money for that, and they don't even realize that you use ChatGPT because they don't have a clue what it is because they're behind the times, and you could literally make money for 10 seconds. Now, if you could get an AI bot to reach out to them all, if you get an AI bot to speak to them all, if you could produce them a movie using Sora showing the coolest electrician on earth. Like, there's so much potential that can be done. It's so ridiculously easy to make money if you actually try. But implementing AI is something you need to do because it's the future. It's like ignoring gunpowder. If you ignore gunpowder, you'll lose the war. You could have looked at gunpowder at some point and said, we got bows and arrows, it'll be fine. No, it won't. As it advances, it's going to get to the point where they soon have Gatling guns and you're all toast. I feel like as a man, you should always live for something bigger than yourself. I feel like that the true masculine imperative is to find a battle worth fighting for. That's why men have always gone to war, and some men died. That's how it's always been for men. As a man, your life shouldn't be about quantity. It should be about quality. And trying to live as long as possible, but being that porridge goo in the middle is not as important as living a shorter amount of time and getting to be the T-bone steak. The world is hyper competitive. If you're going to be a man who's going to sit and say, I'm just sad, you are always going to lose in competition to men like me. Yeah. And there has to be losers for there to be winners. I am tired of sympathy. Sympathy doesn't work for anybody. I'm not going to sit here and be sympathetic for people who say they're too sad to try hard and be their best. Guess what? Perhaps I was sad every time I did exactly what I was supposed to do and trained anyway. Perhaps I was afraid when I fought anyway. Perhaps I was tired when I worked anyway. This is how you get ahead in life. I don't have a fucking ounce of sympathy for these people who sit here and say, well, I feel this way, so I can't. Then don't do it. Stay down there. The winners are at the top, and the winners at the top don't give a shit about how they feel. We wake up and we perform regardless of how we feel day after day. So if I'm going to ignore my own feelings, I'm certainly not going to take into consideration anybody else's. Yeah. Why am I going to ignore how I feel and make sure I'm constantly performing regardless, flawlessly, and then sit and go, oh, but he doesn't feel good, so he's allowed to fuck up. No, you are not. You're not allowed to fuck up to your ancestors or to God or to yourself. You have to perform. This is what being a man is about. The baseline of masculinity is doing things you don't feel like doing. I can't comment on being a woman because I'm not one. But the baseline of masculinity as a whole is the thing that makes a good man a man is that he does what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to work and he works anyway. He doesn't want to go to war and he fights anyway. He doesn't want to get up, he gets up anyway. That's the whole point of it. We didn't want to die in the Titanic. Guess what happened? We died in the Titanic. You can't sit there as a man and say you don't feel like it. You're not allowed to not feel like it. You're supposed to do it anyway, regardless. Yeah. So when a man sits there and says, oh, but you don't understand, I'm struggling with motivation. If you are struggling with the motivation to be a winner, then stay a fucking loser. No problem. Stay a loser. Don't care. Because in my circle, there's no losers around me. Your energy is disgusting. I find it revolting. I don't like weakness around me, even near me. Even people coming up saying hello to me. If you're depressed, don't even shake my hand. I do not have time for losers on any regard. Winners only. Bam. So men live in a world which is extremely competitive. For men, it's far more competitive in many other ways. Because we have to compete not only on how we look, but it's also competing on things we can't even help, right? We're trying to compete. Think of all the things you just asked for. You want a guy who's intelligent, a guy who can hold a conversation, a guy who's wise, a guy who's dominant, a guy who can provide safety. You need a guy who's brave, a guy who's capable to provide safety, right? So men are competing in many different realms. It's extremely difficult to be a man. So we're constantly competing, and what we're looking for is status. Men love status. This is the reason why men do the things they do. Why do men join the army and go out there and risk having their legs blown off? It's because they get to say they're a soldier. Why did I enter the cage and enter the ring 87 times to get to say I'm a world champ? I risked my life. Well, that doesn't make any logical sense. Why would I risk my life to go fight some psycho from Russia? Because I get to say I'm the champ, right? Status. Men want status. And this is the thing about the market now. It's getting to the world where it's getting more polarizing. It's getting easier for women. It's getting extremely difficult for men. And if you still want to be a player in the world today, you have to up your game as a man. Yes. You have to. Most people at home don't realize how fragile they are. And you're very fragile if you're broke, but you're also very fragile if you're rich and you're not prepared for the matrix attack because it's going to come. It's going to come for you. Yeah. And if you're not prepared for it, they're going to take everything you own and you're going to be destitute. If you're a man and you don't view the world as war, I can't imagine how you view the world. My entire worldview is war.
I was actually having this conversation the other day about why I avoid extreme sports. This was some girl. She's like, would you ever jump out of a plane with me? I'm like, no.
Why do you avoid extreme sports?
Well, because my life is extreme. But my life is hard. I'm at war. If your life is extreme and you're already at war, the last thing you want to do is jump out of a plane. You want it safety, calm. I want to be left alone. Well, you're hot. Every man wanted you. I got you. I won. That was a war. My Ferrari, everyone wanted it. I bought it. I won. That was war. Along with all the residential properties I own, along with the commercial properties, along with all the domains I own, along with fighting the matrix and the legal system, that's all war. When you see something beautiful, it is war. When you see a big tree, people go, wow, a big, beautiful tree. And they don't realize that that was a war amongst saplings.
As you said last time.
There was 30 little trees and he decided to destroy all the trees around him so you could grow bigger and everything else. It's war. Life has always been war. So why would I want to go start jumping out of planes? No, I want security team and a big gate and safety. I said to her, she goes, oh, but what do you mean your life's extreme? When we leave this establishment, we are going to walk to my car. There are 2 professional armed guards with me, and I am still with my head on a swivel. You're just going to walk to the car because you're a chick. I think leaving the establishment and going to the car is a battle I must win because I have to get out. I have to look. I have to make sure I'm not going to get. I have to get in the car. Yep. There's so much going on. You want to jump out of the plane because you don't understand that. You think nothing's going on.
Yeah.
For me, my whole life, it's all problems. It's stress. Leave me alone. I'm not jumping out of any planes. I'm not climbing any rocks. I'm not swimming with sharks. That's all for people who don't have enough stress in their life. Mm-hmm. If you wake up and decide you want to swim with sharks, you are lacking stress, which means you are not trying very hard. Because if you were trying your absolute best and you were important and the Matrix wanted you in jail and your enemies wanted you dead, the last thing you would want to do is go swimming with sharks. You must be out of your mind. It's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Not enough people approach things in life with absolute tenacity. And if you approach anything in your life and you destroy the idea that you could possibly fail, which sounds easy, right? But you could do well. If a man told you he could rip your head off with his little finger and you could tell he really, really believed it, would you want him to try?
No.
You'd be like, no, maybe. I don't know. This guy is way too convinced. You know what I'm saying? So if I had to fight John Jones, I don't care if I had to fight a mountain. I don't care if I had to fight a lion or an alien, whatever. If it's on, it's on. If it's on, then it's on. So I'm coming to win. I ain't coming to lose.
Exactly.
So that's how it goes.
It's a fighter spirit right there.
I really do believe I am still old school I believe I am a man of my word. And I don't say that like other people say that. I mean, I'm genuinely a man of my word. When my father raised me, because I grew up in a poor family, my father was a chess grandmaster, but there's not much money in chess. And my dad loved booze, gambling, and women, right? So the money was out the door. So I grew up poor. And he said, listen, son, only thing I need to give you is your last name. You ain't getting no inheritance. My dad died with $11 in his pocket. Done. You're not getting no inheritance. I'm not giving you no money. I'm giving you your last name. And that's all you need. You're a Tate, right? When I was in school, I remember the SATs. I think it's the SATs. What did you do in 6th grade or something? I did the SATs in 6th grade and they wanted to move me up 2 grades because I did so fantastically. And I came home to dad and said, hey dad, I got 99.9% right. They'll move me up 2 grades. And he goes, you're a Tate, of course. It's like whatever. Like the achievement to the average man is nothing. We're Tates, right? So I'm a man of my word. I'm a man of my name. If I'm going to sit and tell you and all you people out here, I don't know you. If I tell you something, it's the truth. Mm-hmm. And I stand by that. So anyone who's going to come to me and say, oh, Tate, he's full of it, your name isn't worth anything. My name's worth something. I've worked for my name. I've risked my life in the cage for my name. Your name isn't worth a thing. So don't talk to me about what honesty is.
I think the good times are over. I think it's going to go back to the feudal system of kings and serfs and peasants. And I think if you're a normal, average person now, you should feel deep fear and panic and understand that you have a certain amount of time to get into the higher bracket of the social class before these hard times come. And the most scary thing about these hard times is I feel like the gap is going to permanently close. In olden times, the chance of turning into anything more than a peasant when you were born a peasant was effectively zero unless there was chaos, unless there was a war or some great catastrophe, which allowed social mobility for you to go to war, win, get a knighthood for bravery, get some land, and change your social mobility class. But there had to be war and chaos for you to escape. Because without the chaos, it's kind of like a prison break. When all the rules are being adhered to and the prison is operating as it should, you're stuck in your cell. But if there's a prison riot, you have a chance to escape, which means uncertainty and chaos are required for the difference in social mobility. And that's always been the case. But now I feel like with AI and certain other things, although there's going to be instability in the world, although they're going to continue to lie to us, I feel like the Matrix is going to gain enough control to keep us all in our pods or in our 15-minute cities, or our electric cars will be turned off, or we need to get our bug rations for the week, so that there can't ever be enough true chaos for you to escape. There won't be true social mobility, and I feel like there's going to be a close. The people who are rich now, their bloodlines will be rich for a very long time. The people who are poor now, they don't get rich soon. In the next 10 years or so, they're never going to. It's now or never.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible right now. Why are you not panicking? The Titanic just hit the iceberg. You may not be in the water yet, but it's a certainty. There's nowhere else to go. It's going to sink.
It's going to happen.
Panic now. Don't panic at the end with everyone else as they go into the icy depths. No. The gap is closing. The elites hate you. You no longer have sexual consent. You're a permanent criminal in the eyes of the law. They're here to decimate you and your entire bloodline. You're 22 at the height of your capabilities, the height of your energy. You heal like Wolverine. It is Friday. Are you making money? What are you doing? Oh, there's this band. I really want to see this band. I guess you just deserve to lose, friend. I guess you're just an idiot. I don't feel sorry. I guess you're just a dummy. And that's how I feel. So imagine how the elites feel. We're scum to these people. We are. I'm not a rich man. I'm just a poor man who loves money. I'm from a Luton Council. I wear diamond watches, bro. You understand?
Yeah, I do.
I'm just a poor man with billions of dollars. But it's scary when you start to understand how all these things really work. And I don't think the average man at home understands this. And if you start to understand it all, the last thing you will lack is motivation. How can you lack motivation? How can an antelope in the jaws of a tiger say, I lack motivation? I'm tired. I'm horny. I want to off. Bro, they're ripping out your throat in real time. You're bleeding out. Fight back. And then the tigers like me are like, oh, bro, you're going to get eaten. I'm going to eat you. That's what we're going to do. There's so much work for you to do as a man. I don't know how people I barely sleep, and I never not work, and I never lay in. I'm never lazy. And I don't understand how people don't work all of the time. And when I say that, people say, but work on what? I don't know what to work on. Bro, you need 10 passports. You need 25 bank accounts. You need shell companies. You need a trust fund. You need to make some money. You then need to move that money away. You need multiple places to live. You need a place for your children to live. They need a trust fund. You have stuff to do.
Yep.
And the people are just sitting around doing nothing. It's mind-boggling to me. And I guess if you sit around and do nothing, maybe you won't be successful. But if you're lucky enough to pull something off and make a little bit of money and you get too large because you haven't done the groundwork, then you get wrecked the other way. They want people inside of their slave containers. They want everyone in the middle. So I wake up and go, let me do the math. If I never worked again, I could spend $422,000 a day for the rest of my life. I have all the cars. Do I need them? No. Maybe I'll have a coffee. Let me try and chill out today. And within 22 minutes, I'm back on my laptop. There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to do. And I can't stop myself working as a person who doesn't need money. And then there's people with no money who don't work. It blows my mind, which is why the winners are winners and the losers are losers. Losers do a little bit of work and rest. Winners work as hard as possible and worry they're not working hard enough. It's just a separation of personality types. And it's almost like you can't save these people. There's a huge percentage of the populace which they're beyond saving because of the worst thing you can possibly be, which is a quitter. Being a quitter is the worst thing you could possibly be. God himself can't make a quitter important because the only reason the place you're trying to get to has value is because it was difficult to reach. If everybody could reach it, there'd be no value. Value is linked to scarcity. The whole point gold is valuable is because it's not everywhere. If it was everywhere, it wouldn't have any value. The reason the place you're trying to reach is valuable is because people can't get there. So if you're the kind of person who quits, you're never going to get there. Quitters are the worst. You could give a quitter a map, a treasure map, and a hot air balloon. And say it's going to take you right to the treasure. It's going to be a 7-day journey. Here's a sandwich.
Yeah.
And halfway through, they'll be like, oh, I'm cold.
Yeah, you just said that, 7 days now.
Yeah, and they'll quit.
Yeah.
Quitters will never make it. And there's a huge subsect of the populace who are basically simply quitters. I've never in my life seen anyone who's determined to get something not get it. I've never seen somebody who is determined in their heart to get something not get it. The universe and God is so giving and providing. People think it's difficult out here. I disagree. I've never seen someone wake up and say, nah, this is all I care about. This is all I want. Not get it. Everyone who thought that way in fighting was a world champion. Everyone who thought that way about money was rich. I've never seen anyone fail. Bro, I've seen people with no credit score and no job determined to get an R8 manage to get one on finance somehow. I've seen it. If it's all you want, you're going to get it.
You're going to find a way to
You're going to find a way.
Yeah.
People go, oh, I want this. If you want it, you have it.
Literally, I spoke to a man who had done a podcast recently. He was saying if someone had gone to your children's head and said to you, the only way I'm going to move this gun is by you making $1 million, you are going to make $1 million.
100%.
Yeah.
You're going to be motivated for the first time in your life. People often say, if you try your best, it's okay to fail. But what they don't understand, the true secret to the universe is that if you try your best, you never fail.
Yeah.
But anybody with a brain is capable of having anything they want in life. I believe the universe is very giving. And perhaps you will know, but I've never met anyone who genuinely tried their hardest for anything. I've never seen somebody dedicate themselves properly. I've never seen it. I've never seen somebody try their best and not get it. I've seen people pretend to try their best. I've seen people say they want it. I've seen people make excuses for why they'll never have it and not get it. But I've never seen anybody who just wakes up, shuts up, works, and not get it. Ever. You can have anything you want, and that's how you disrupt the matrix. Because most people are lazy and stupid. Sit there, follow instructions, and you will have everything you've ever desired. Car you want, woman you want, house you want, holidays you want. All you have to do is do the work. And you can disrupt the matrix. Or you can stay lazy. Stay inside the slave program. And there'll be people who always do that. And we need them. Because, you don't wash your own cars. I don't. So, someone's got to do it. And that's how society functions. There's always going to be winners and there's always going to be losers.
One of the things I try very hard not to do is become elitist. Because when you've come from the absolute bottom to the absolute top and you've done it all off of your own back and hard work and dedication and never missing a day, the only shortcut to life is to never miss a day. One, because of compounding interest. And two, because sometimes you get lucky. And you'll never miss a lucky day if you try every day. If you don't try every day, you might miss your lucky day. And that's what people don't understand. If you never miss a day and you never don't try and you're always on time, was I late today? No, on time. And you try and improve every aspect of your life and you're a professional and you try and make sure that you analyze your decisions. You give yourself feedback. You don't make mistakes. You're not lazy. If you try and you make it to the top, you end up elitist because you look at the people down below and you're like, well, why didn't you try? I did. Oh, I did too. No, you didn't. That's a lie. Now you're lying to me and that annoys me. And you catch yourself being very elitist. And this is what's scary about it because I'm from a Luton council estate. And now I have all this money. But if I meet somebody who's truly broke, I'm not talking about you not have hundreds of millions, but if I meet somebody who's broke, I think they're an idiot. And I catch myself going, is that bad? Am I elitist? Or do I sit down now and I just say, no, I started lower than you and beat you. How are you poor? You're lazy.
I believe that money loves speed. And everybody agrees with me when they say this, but absolutely nobody understands what speed is. When me and my team work together, when I say speed, I say we have an idea at 9 a.m. and by 4 p.m. we're making money. Same day, speed. So I was talking to some dude and he was like, oh yeah, I've been working on my music. I was like, bro, I saw you a month ago. You're working on music. What do you got? Because I'm working on the song. A month? A month? I'll climb Mount Everest in a month. You know what I do in a month? Why are you poor?
You climb
You're poor
Mount
because you're not
Everest?
trying. Like a month I could train for anything on the planet. I'll learn classical piano in a month. So talk to me about making one song with auto-tune. So I made a song in a day to prove a point to this dude. And I got more views on my song than his shit song.
Love speed, man.
Money loves speed. Yeah. You got to forget the people who aren't about money around you. It's got to be all you think about, all you talk about. You got to start producing. You got to start attracting attention one way or another. And if you do all those things, you will start to make some money. But next time you're sitting with your friends, this is a challenge for every single person watching this. Next time you're sitting with your friends, unprompted, come in, sit down, and just join in the conversation. Just join in whatever they're talking about. And after about 20 seconds, sit and think, this is bullshit. This is not going to make any of us rich. Mm-hmm. They're talking about this, that, this football game, this guy. This is not going to make any of us rich.
Yep. Nonsense.
Eureka, I am wasting my life. The time to get rich is running out.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The time to get rich is running out. Slavery is coming and you're not going to be able to escape. The rich are literally getting richer and the poor are literally getting poorer in real time.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You can see it happening. And it's about to be have-nots and have-yachts up in his mouth. And if you're on the wrong team, you're never going to escape.
Yeah.
These are some of the last years where a broke person can genuinely escape the matrix. You are running out of time. Forget that patience crap, right? You're going to get rich now.
Yeah.
You got to get rich now.
Yeah.
And as a man, you need to prepare yourself for that. And if you're sitting there and you understand what I'm saying to you, because some people are going to listen to this right now and go, some people are going to listen and go, whatever. Some people are going to listen and go, yeah, he's right. But then in 10 minutes after this podcast finishes, go back to turn off the. And there's going to be a small percentage of people who go, you know what? This Tate guy knows exactly what he's talking about. I need to prepare for the new world. And if you do understand, that's when you join the movement, because that's what we do.
The brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. But once you figure out your brain, you become unstoppable to almost anything. Your brain is amazing. Once you feed it the right conversation, the right mental nutrients, the right mental supplements, the right internal dialogue at the right time with the right hit, with the right proof of what you've done in the past, and you send that right to the right circuit, dude, you're a fucking beast. You put so much practice into you that you can ignore every one of them that are telling you you're not going to fucking make it and still be able to fucking make it because you have put the practice in that you know this is the process. It's such a daunting task that all the voices are saying no, but you still have the conviction that I know I can do this. When you put that practice in every day, you lace them up. And I don't mean run. It's just a metaphor for life. When you lace them motherfuckers up every day, pretty soon you win. If you have the courage and the heart and the dedication and the mindset about everybody can go fuck themselves, pretty soon you'll fucking win. There's no balance. It's a little bit more what it should be for a lot of people, but there'll never be balance because confidence and belief you're building every day. But it's what we've trained ourselves to believe that we need.
I think a man should have absolutely no interest in whether he's actually happy or not. If I wake up and I'm unhappy, I will do the exact same things as if I am happy. I will go to the gym the same. I will work the same. How I feel has no impact on how I live my life. I don't think happiness as an index is a healthy view for a man to have on life success. As soon as you stop pushing forward, as soon as you go stagnant, you're dying. Depression is not real. Feeling depressed is real. When you're depressed, you can fail in every human metric. I fail at everything, but I'm depressed. It's not my fault. No, you're a failure. That's all you are, because you're not trying very hard. No matter what the worst thing that could possibly happen to me on earth, I will feel sad, but I will recover and I will not become depressed because I don't believe in depression. As you lose, there's no light without dark, right? There's no joy without pain. Of course. For me to be a winner, there needs to be losers.
You learn to pick yourself up on your own. A lot of times these fights and these battles, you got to be your own fucking coach. You got to be your own motivator. It was the only way for me to move forward.
A lot of quitting is just your mind saying, man, we can't do this. Man, we should find a way out. Man, fuck this. This is just too uncomfortable. Whereas if you can just force yourself to push those aside and don't entertain those thoughts at all, you can get through a lot of things you can't get through. You got to fuel yourself with the fuck ups. And most people get stuck in these patterns because they define themselves as a fuck up. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Write down what you would like to fix about your life. And then just, if you're 30 pounds overweight, you want to lose 30 pounds? Do it the right way. Go start eating vegetables, monitor your calories, write down what you eat, exercise every day, force yourself to do it. Say you're the general. The brain is the general, the troops are the body. The troops don't want to listen, but you go, fuck you, you listen. And you get up and you do it. They're no fun. All the time you're complaining, you could be instead hustling. You could be instead chasing your dream. You could be instead figuring out what you're doing wrong, trying to improve certain aspects of your life, getting your shit together, reading a book, meditating, something.
But what is necessary is you have to build a person that can withstand the pressures of whatever they're going to be dealing with in life. But be tough. You better have a part about you that's tough, a part about you that can break down situations very quickly within some trauma in your life, some devastation in your life, because it's going to come, and move forward. That takes a lot of toughness.
Hard times create hard men. Hard men create soft times. Soft times create soft men. Soft men create hard times. We are now around soft men and hard times. You can't be weak. You should be a monster. You should be ruthlessly ambitious and then learn how to control it. And it's that old expression. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Because it doesn't mean that you can't be kind if you're strong, but it does mean you can't be strong if you're weak.
So many men say, I want to be the man, but they don't want to suffer. They don't want to fight. And I don't understand why, because even if you look at a superhero movie, they tell you, even in superhero movies, they make it very clear. Batman's parents died. That's why he's Batman. All the bad things have to happen. There's no way to get there without the bad things. Of course she broke your heart. Of course you're sad. Of course you miss her. She's with me now. That's life. And you decipher it and you work out the best way to deal with it, and you internalize the good parts, and you become a better and stronger and more resilient person for it. That's part of it. That's the only way you're going to get to that level of resilience. You can't become the man any other way.
As a man, trauma and difficulty is extremely important because it's the building blocks for mental fortitude and physical fortitude. So I'm very, very happy that my life has been difficult, because it's impossible to become a capable man or a man of my capability without struggling with facing serious adversities, without trying to overcome often insurmountable odds.
So how I do every day is how I do every day. It's a discipline. It's a regimen. It's a choice I made. And the choice I made was, what are you willing to sacrifice? And what are you willing to give up to find every bit of who you are as a human being? And I was willing to give everything to do that. And so nothing is easy. Like running is running. It sucks, but you have a choice to make. Do you want to sit down and go back to that guy you once were? No. So this is what it takes. It takes that misunderstanding of people, and they'll never get it because they were never David Goggins. And this is every day of my fucking life. That's why when I train a fighter or I train someone, I'm like, you have no fucking idea how great you really are, because you are using such minimal of what you have. And if people can learn to focus, to extract greatness from nothing, it takes every bit of who you are if you choose that route. If you don't, Merry Christmas. Do what you got to do. There's no fucking passion. There's no fucking motivation. There's no, oh my God, man, no. It's every day of your life just doing. No passion. Where's passion when you're 300 pounds? Where's the motivation when you can't read and write? Where is it? So how did this happen? I just fucking did. I just did. I said, maybe at the end of this journey, there'll be something there for me. If not, I can read. If not, I'm 185 fucking pounds. There was no magic potion. There's no, oh, let me wake up and look at some shit. No, it's all bullshit. Just do. You're living. How do you want to live? How do you want to die? How do you want to fucking be remembered? That's it. Period. This is why I say stay hard, because when you weren't given the gifts, the only thing you can do in life is stay hard. This is all you can do. There's no magic pill or a magic potion. All you can do is outwork.
Because everybody has bad breaks. Yeah. I've had a shit ton of bad breaks. But you know what I did? I stayed up. Yeah. And I thought through it. And I figured out what the fuck I did wrong. And then I went back. It's like I fucked up everything I've ever done 100 times. There's no other way to do it. And I've had a bunch of shitty breaks. Everybody has. But you got to realize when you have those shitty breaks what that is. It's an opportunity for you to reassess, reboot, get better, figure out another way, find another way through. It's just little challenges. And that's how you do it. You go and get after it. You don't make any excuses. You got to stop with all this I can't catch a break bullshit. All the time you're complaining, you could be instead hustling. You could be instead chasing your dream. You could be instead figuring out what you're doing wrong, trying to improve certain aspects of your life, getting your shit together, reading a book, meditating, something. Fucking something.
That's something that you have to develop. You develop that over years, decades of suffering and going back into the suffer. But how I grew a will was constantly doing these things. To now, it's just life. I wake up while it still sucks. It's just life. You don't sit back and like, oh my God, like I have days I don't want to do it, but I know I'm going to do it. Through examining myself, getting some willpower, some courage, it became bigger than this table. But that's what we all do. That's why I wanted to come here today and talk to you about real shit. Not no fucking like hacks. There's no hacks, bro. It's you against you. You against you.
If you're alive, you can get better. Yeah, no matter what. If you're alive, you can shift things. Doing things that are difficult is as much of a nourishment of the mind as food is a nourishment of the body. I think you need things that puzzling to you, where you have to find your own human potential in the difficulty of the task and work your way through things. Give yourself an arduous, difficult task where you're challenged mentally and challenged physically. One of the great things about being challenged physically is it's also mental. The people that don't understand that have never really been challenged physically. People that think that physical challenges are just physical. It's just brute grunt work. It's not. It's emotional intelligence. It's understanding your desire to quit and conquering your inner bitch. All that stuff is mental. And there's a mental strength that you acquire from that you can apply to intellectual pursuits.
Whatever you do, you've got to be a little bit gone to it. You're not all there. You've got to be almost insane to your craft. Not a lot of people can understand that. That's why I don't know about nothing else. I do not pay attention to nothing else. That's my life. Sequences and numbers. Nothing else. I cannot pay attention to nothing else.
The first rule of success is to have a vision. You see, if you don't have a vision of where you go, and if you don't have a goal where you go, you drift around and you never end up anywhere. It's like you can have the best ship in the world, you can have the best airplane in the world. If the pilot or the captain doesn't know where to go, it would just drift around. It would not end up anywhere, or most likely in the wrong place. My vision was totally different. I felt that I was born for something special, for something unique, for something big. So I was searching. I wanted to become a bodybuilding champion, just like Reg Park. Do you know how great it felt that I knew where I was going? Imagine the majority of people don't know where they're going. I knew where I was going, that I'm going to become this bodybuilding champion just like him. So it was just a question of how do you do it? I was so relieved, because when you have a goal, when you have a vision, everything becomes easy. The majority of people don't like what they're doing because they're really not doing it because they didn't have a goal and they followed this goal. They just aimlessly drift around, and then all of a sudden there's a job opening, so they get that job because you have to work. But then when you work, it's a chore. It's work. It's not fun. So if you think about, only a quarter of the people really enjoy what they're doing in life. That is unbelievable if you think about it. So I felt so blessed that I knew what I was doing. It's like a medical student that studies and knows he wants to become a doctor. You know where to go. So I knew where to go.
There's no light without dark. If you love anything on the planet, you'll be called hateful against something else. The only people who aren't hateful are people who don't love anything and don't stand up for anything. I feel happiest when I do the things I'm supposed to do because I'm supposed to do them. Doing what you're supposed to do and fulfilling your duty and being proud of yourself is fun. That's the only fun you need. You don't need the fun of trying to chase all this garbage and this hedonism and this black hole. That doesn't lead anywhere. Well, I feel sad, but it doesn't matter because I'm doing the right thing. I feel depressed or I feel stressed, but it doesn't matter because I'm dedicating myself.
I had to believe in it. I had to feel it. I had to have faith in it for it to happen.
I'm in phenomenal shape, in body and mind. To me, what's unhealthy is living an unhealthy life. To me, what's unhealthy is getting up and going through the same day, every day of your life, 9 to 5, in an office or in a You know what I mean? That's unhealthy. That beats your mind. I don't work. I love what I do. And that's why I'm doing what I love. You know what I mean? That's why it's become a career for me, because I love it. I love what I do. So I don't think it's unhealthy. I feel good in my mind. You know what I mean? It's my life.
So people always ask me, when they saw me in the gym in the pumping iron days, they say, why is it that you're working out so hard? 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, and you have always a smile on your face. The others are working out just as hard as you do, and they look sour in the face. Why is that? And I told people all the time, I said, because to me, I'm shooting for a goal. In front of me is the Mr. Universe title. So every rep that I do gets me closer to accomplishing that goal, to make this goal, this vision turn into reality. Every single set that I do, every repetition, every weight that I lift will get me a step closer to turn this goal into reality. So I couldn't wait to do another 500-pound squat. I couldn't wait to do another 500-pound bench press. I couldn't wait to do another 2,000 reps of sit-ups. I couldn't wait for the next exercise, for the next half hour of posing and all the kind of things that you have to do to be a champion. I felt so great knowing where I was going, and I tell you, it worked. I mean, think about it. And I was just not visualizing just my exercise, but I was really lifting the trophy over my head. That's what I was thinking about.
I think one of the largest tenets of masculinity for the largest period of human time is ignoring how you feel and doing what you're supposed to do because you're supposed to do it. We feel things, but jobs must be done, whether we are happy or sad. I'm stressed probably 6 days a week. I'm pissed off 6 days a week, but things need to be done.
Right.
So you just have to do them. I think humans, we're designed to struggle a bit, because the closer you are to struggle, the more sensible you are. Hard times create good men create good times, and the good times create a bunch of weaklings, and they mess everything up. Like, I think that inside of the human psyche, sometimes you need to be shocked. You need to be hammered with something. That's just how it goes. Because until then, you're like, maybe I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah.
What is life without difficulty in the first place? What is life? What is the point of life without difficulty? But in a world where everyone's chasing comfort and I'm chasing challenges, I really do think that would be a story.
I don't do nothing any different. I still come to the gym. There's people trying to get me to do this and get me to do that. In order to be successful at this game, it needs to be 24/7. I need to be living in this gym. And that's because since this new facility, SBG Concord, has opened up, the setup now is I come here at 1, 2 o'clock in the day and I'm here till 10 o'clock at night. There's no outside distraction. There's no nothing. It's been crazy. The spotlight is on. The Irish public are watching, but it's what we planned. It's what we prepared. I knew I was going to be the person to bring martial arts to the public eye. It's the hard work pays off. That dreams come true. And that's what's happening.
And it was because I had a goal. And this is no different than anything else, what I'm talking about. This is not just about bodybuilding. And so I had this in my mind, no matter how much I bleed on my elbows or my knees, and I would do it over and over again until we got it. So let me tell you something, visualizing your goal and going after it makes it fun. You got to have a purpose no matter what you do in life. You got to have a